Okay, so we haven't talked it's been a week. Last time we talked, you had found an apartment. You were separating, but not, and working on your marriage. So you were going to develop your strength, try to get your feet underneath you, and then work on the marriage. Because you are devoted to the marriage. This isn't about the marriage. It's about you getting your independence and self-esteem built again. Anyway, so that's where we left off. And I was like, I was really excited you guys are going to go to marriage counseling. Because I think that's really important for both of you, especially with the codependency type of relationship.
Right. And so, yeah, so that worked out well. I'm kind of trying to figure out the kind of, I don't want to say the terms, but what I feel comfortable with as far as how much togetherness or how much separateness do we need while we work on the counseling. So, like whether he would sleep over at the apartment or whether it would be better if he had a different place, let's say.
Oh, I see. For the better of the whole of the relationship.
Yeah, because I definitely am working through resentments and trying to process that myself so that I have that space to go ahead and when something comes up. So, I had kind of an interesting experience that happened actually with a friend, but it really highlighted my people-pleasing issues. Mm-hmm. So, and then that kind of just triggered, like, in general, I was like, I have, like, an issue with this.
Yeah.
But,
wanting to please others so that they are comfortable.
It's like I almost do it so instinctively I don't realize I do it, but I had a friend who was like pushing to come visit because she wants to go to the beach. And I had already had Tracy give me the consideration of having a couple days. Of course, there's a tropical storm coming through, so it's not like it's great beach weather. And anyway, she basically says she's driving up after she started driving. And so now she's like on her way. Then she tells me 30 minutes before that she's brought her dog with her. I was like, well, I like dogs, but I think that's a little passive aggressive to tell me like 30 minutes before. Anyway, the whole time I'm like, put everything on hold now to like entertain.
Got it. But one thing to give it grace, just on a side note, is she's probably going off of how your friendship was before you started getting this work.
Right.
So it will be shocking to her. Right. It will be shocking to her if you have boundaries. Because she's like, oh, yeah, you're so easygoing. She won't care. This is going to be great. Easy. And so she's never really had to consider, your... and I have to say, being raised very similar to you, that, we are like we're owned by narcissism, right? So we accommodate. We're constantly adapting, even if it hurts us, right? And even if the person with us, so the person who wants us to accommodate doesn't necessarily know that it is hurting us because we've never given them that feedback. Partly because giving them that feedback would mean I'm going to make them uncomfortable, and I'm not allowed to do that. Right?
Because that's the thing is, I always feel like I have I always regard other people more than I have myself, which I know is a problem that I have.
Well, no, it's part of what I just described.
Right.
It's what happens. So. It's not your problem. It is something that there's benefits to doing that. There's benefits.
I was happy to share and have her. Like, I was happy for that. Like, I wasn't unhappy to have a guest.
Well, the benefit is that you become more adaptable. The downside, so there's downsides to it, is that if you don't have a voice or even an awareness of your own needs, is you end up hurting yourself to benefit someone else. So I want you to be aware that when you say this is a problem that I have, it's actually, this is what happens when people are held hostage. And you do it yourself. It's not like someone's making you do it.
Right.
You're willfully doing it.
So. That we ultimately, the conflict was just bound to happen because it ended up culminating in she was going to give me an hour of time to sit in her car and do the appointment with you while she went and did her thing. And she basically didn't give it to me. And I was like, I would never go against, like, if somebody asked me, like, I would go sit somewhere for an hour and give them, like, that's just how I do things. But I'm like, wow, I don't know how to describe what the word is.
Okay, so don't
somebody like the regard, like to give
hold
them
on.
the regard.
Hold on, you're judging her right now.
Yeah.
Okay, that's yeah, and I'm trying to help you so that you don't.
Right.
Because you're the problem. No, I know that sounds terrible, but because you've never given her boundaries, so she's just going off of your previous relationship where she's in control and you do what she says, and she loves you for that. She thinks you're probably the best friend ever.
Yeah, she does.
Because she's kind of a planner, and she'll be like, hey, let's do this. And you're like, okay, let's do that. I'm the same way. However, there's like I said, there's a benefit to that. And the downside is when you don't have boundaries or you're not willing to say, hey, you know what? Is there a way we can put the dog in a dog kennel, or do you have something? This where I'm at doesn't allow it, or hold on a second. Right. This is complicated. Like, you got to be willing to do that, and then she might easily go, oh yeah, I never thought of that. And you see what I'm saying? But what you're doing instead is you're going, she should know better. She should know better, not realizing that you're changing.
Yeah,
you're changing, and that
she did literally come up uninvited and then tell me about the dog 30 minutes.
I understand. I understand that. I'm not.
So I would have had to be like, no, that's not okay. Like.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And that would be uncomfortable because then I would feel like, oh, she drove all this way or whatever. But now I'm not putting up my own boundaries.
Yeah, and you're blaming her for not knowing what your needs are and what you should be, and she should be more like you, which is, and that right there is your own suffering. And when you position yourself to where people should know, you're doing how you've been treated. You're basically becoming a persecutor, right? You're the one who's, and it's fine.
Then I feel like when I do stand up, because then you have that bottled resentment, so obviously it comes across as like.
Well, by standing up, are you saying that you're doing something wrong by saying, oh no, I need you to we're going to have to put the dog in a kennel?
No, I'm really not. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but you're treating it as if you're doing something wrong by having those boundaries. And then instead of actually just doing it and giving yourself grace for yourself, regardless of her response, right? These are my boundaries. I will give them to her. It's unfair to not give her those boundaries. So open your mind to see the big picture. Your relationship previous to this was probably similar to you and your husband's, okay?
Yeah.
Because that's how you related to people. Correct. So how are you, all of a sudden, you're shocked that she's just doing what she wants?
Right.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
And making and being like, and I'm offended, and this is not good, and she's wrong, and she should know.
As much as I got disappointed at myself for not handling it, like I got upset when she came and encroached on the space. I was about to have the appointment. It's literally like 1 minute to 9 or whatever, and so I then got disappointed at myself for getting angry. And then I was like, well, I did the best I could because I basically was like, I feel like you're being really pushy. You were pushy this whole time you came up or whatever.
You said that to her?
Into like a mini confrontation.
Yeah, well.
Which I needed to have with her, but
okay.
I wish I would have done it different, but I also know I didn't know better because this is my practice time to do better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do know that. So this is part of the transition that you need to be able to communicate. And of course, if someone said you're being pushy, that's being accusatory, that's being judgy, which is fine.
Yeah.
But you're in reverse. You should have said, I should have set boundaries. This is an appointment that's important to me. So.
Yeah. And I did tell her that. Like, I did, because I immediately almost, got upset at myself for not being able to do better. Because
Stop.
So, yeah.
You're upset at her. You're upset at you. And you need to look at this whole thing with grace. You have to see that she's been conditioned to be shocked. This is going to be shocking to her. Understandably so.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably, you're just aware of it now. Maybe you're more aware of it now. Is there anything that's really changed in this relationship? Is this bizarre new behavior for this friend?
Yeah, so it would definitely.
It is bizarre new behavior? She's never this way? So is she...
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Oh.
No, she is aware. Actually, when I mentioned she was pushy, she had another very good friend of hers that grew up with her like I did, who ditched her like a week ago for her pushiness.
Okay, pause.
She's pushed away a bunch of people.
Okay,
so
I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to ask the question again. Okay, because you just completely you're ignoring everything I'm saying.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize, but notice how I'm giving you some boundaries. You're ignoring everything I'm saying. You're not even listening to me.
Right.
I'm actually trying to help you, and you just need to pause and open your mind for a little bit. I understand if you just had a little fight, you're probably on edge right now. Take a deep breath. I'm here to help you. I'm on your side. You just have to listen. You have to be willing to stop and just listen for a second. I'm trying to help you give her grace.
Yeah, I do.
Which ultimately, this is all about giving you grace too. Just pause a second. Look at this from a big picture. I'm not saying what you're saying about her character isn't true. I'm not justifying it. I'm just wanting you to see this relationship. In fact, it's not just her that you've accommodated to, which is why she's probably super attracted to this friendship.
Right.
And she's probably never really had, she probably is attracted to people who just accommodate because she's kind of forceful with her opinions and what she wants to do. Right? And you're on this side, you're getting help for being an accommodator, right?
Right.
Okay? Yeah. And so give her some grace to understand. Look at the context of not just her, but where you've been at and how that relationship and why she wouldn't have boundaries.
Right.
Make sense? I don't think she intends harm. I don't think she intends for you to be super uncomfortable. It sounds to me like she is clueless.
Yeah, and she basically said she was clueless, and then I kind of questioned, well, is she lying? How does she not see that so many people have given her subtle clues?
No, this is So she's telling you something, and you're not even listening to her. Similar to
I was contemplating it.
Similar to when I'm talking to you, and you're not listening to me.
Right.
You're your mind is off on your own script.
Okay.
She's freaking clueless. You've just accommodated to it, and so in her mind, everything's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna go to Florida. We're gonna hang out. This is gonna be a great friendship. Oh, she won't care if I bring my dog. This is gonna be fun, and she probably intended to have a great time with you.
Right.
Clueless as to really what's going on here. Because she's not in your space. She's not in your life right now. She has no idea what you're working on.
Right.
And so, let's pause a second. I want you to just take a deep breath, and I want you to really get the essence of why she's here with you. Just get the essence of it. Is it really to just be an asshole to you? No. It's not. She has no idea what's going on here. if she did, let's just imagine, not that it's her business, but if she really understood what's going on here, would she be this way?
No.
I agree. You can just give her that grace of just being completely, we'll call it ignorant. She just has no idea. And she's making decisions thinking that this is going to be awesome. And of course, in her mind, it's going to be awesome. She's on vacation mode. And she wants you to be too. And right now, you are really in a hard place. She might actually be thinking, this is exactly what she needs. She needs a girlfriend, and we're going to do this and that, and we're going to go.
Right.
Am I far off?
No, that's pretty accurate.
Okay, she cares about you, right? She cares about you. So take a pause, and I want you to acknowledge that, oh, this is really sweet. Of course, she's being completely clueless. She's not aware. She obviously has good intentions here. You just need to maybe explain to her, like, I am trying to pick up my pieces. I want to be with you. I want to hang out with you, but I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And she's going to go, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want to do that to you. That's not her intention. You just need to have a heart-to-heart. You need to have a heart-to-heart, and the last thing you need to do is accusing her of being lying and backstabbing, and she's out to get me and all that paranoia.
And I really feel like I had tried to explain that, but I can see how I probably still wasn't firm enough, even though...
Well,
she's literally been through me through like a lot of the stuff I've been through, but... Yeah, but
you're actually making her your persecutor now.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
I said you're now making her, how can you be communicating well? So I want you to take a step back. Hear how I've described this. If you're not seeing it for what it is, how are you you're being accusatory back at her, telling her you're thinking she's lying to you. How are you open-mindedly talking to her with that state of mind? It's very hard, right? So I think I'm not saying that you should just accommodate her. What I'm saying is get the essence of her intention here. Is there a way for this to, she's probably not thought to get a hotel room. She probably didn't think to find a kennel. She probably didn't think blah, blah, blah. All this stuff she wasn't thinking about. What do you think she was thinking about?
Having
fun with a girlfriend.
Entertainment, right.
And she may have thought this was going to be a good thing for you.
Yeah.
Not realizing you are nowhere close to that space at the moment. You're just not in that space. Your life is not in that. One way to think about it is you just moved. You're going through counseling. You're personally you're trying to be alone right now.
Right, yeah. She's trying to have time to process.
Yeah, and she has no idea. And now what you're learning is what I should have said is because in her mind, she's thinking she created a fantasy and she really believed this was going to be something that would be really good for you. I guarantee you that was her intention.
Yeah. Yeah, and she wanted to get some beach time for herself. So.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
She could obviously find a hotel. So, and not make it where me and my family, so, yeah.
Yeah, you just have to be able to communicate this in a way. And this is where you're developing this. I have to say, if you become persecuted and a victim, it's going to be really hard to communicate. So the first thing, when we started this session, the first thing I was trying to do is give it a whole grace. I was like, hold on, stop. Give it grace. You need to be aware. Be aware that these relationships that you formerly had are assuming that you're this and that. That's one thing. The other thing is you need to open yourself to context and reasoning for why, right? Mm-hmm. Remove the positionality to get the essence of it all. Once you've done that, now go into, well, I need to do at this moment, this is not appropriate for me. It's not that this is a bad thing that she's doing. It's just not appropriate for me. I'm the one that's not in an appropriate state of mind. I bet you anything, if this were to happen in a year from now, this would be different. Your response would be different. You might be more directive, like, okay, let's do this. I'm going to direct it a little bit more here. Okay, I have this, I've got that. These are things you're going to have to be on your own time at those times, you know, and see how that's more directive. I know that you tried, but it sounds like you could go back, and I think when you open yourself up to this, knowing what you know now, okay, there's no judgment in what I'm directing you to do right now, but open yourself up and go, what do you think based on your state of being? Because your state of being isn't matching where she's at. What would you tell her the moment she called and said, I'm in the car, we're on our way?
Yeah, I would have told her that I'm really not in a place right now to accept, to have company over, and
horrible timing. This is terrible timing. I am so sorry. It's okay to be apologetic, but I'm not going to be able to do this.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I know. I think part of what I can see I make a mistake is I give, clues.
Yeah,
I'll say things, but not directly, so that then...
Yeah, you're tiptoeing.
People don't read the clues. and honestly, I was perfectly fine with everything. I just got really disappointed about missing the call with you. Because everything else, I was like, okay, I can accommodate to this. But then I was like, oh, there's the final straw. All I asked for was 1 hour. And then I got kind of frustrated. But I needed to stand up for myself before that, because then that's when the resentment was building anyway.
So if you had if you have resentment building, it means that you're accommodating beyond your actual needs. Yeah. This is such a good experience for you, because this is kind of this is reality. This is life. Yeah. It really is. I've been in this position before on your side of it. And if I was on her side of it, I would feel terrible if I knew my intentions were actually totally misaligned and the person was being put out, not realizing it, So you will, if being willing to say, grasp the essence. I love that you're here. You're a dear friend to me. This is so, in fact, I love you. I care for you. Just, this is horrible timing for me. And I'm, I should have told you when you first called. Boundaries, right? So what you're doing is you're setting it up.
I don't recognize my boundaries until they've been crossed, and I feel the resentment. So I'm not catching early enough.
You're catching it just on time. You're learning. Right. You're learning. You're figuring it out. And, what might need to happen in this process is pause and slow the process down so that you're not catching up. You're on top of it. Like you're in the way. It's like being in front of the wave a little bit. But to do that, you have to slow it down. You have to really go into, will that work for me? You have to kind of go through checklists. What do I have going on? Am I prepared to host someone? Do I have them? Does she have a crate for her dog? If we need to do that, can I even accommodate a dog in where I'm living in my apartment? What's going, you just go through the checklist. And if you find that, oh my God, this is a pain in the ass, you can either choose not to say anything because, you're willfully accommodating. At that point, it's unfair to be resentful because you're making a choice.
Right.
You have to just accept what it is and say, I'm just going to put all this other stuff on hold right now.
Yeah.
So there's that part. Then there's the part where, you know what, I have to say something because this is a horrible timing for me. And it's going to suck and I'm going to be resentful and I'm going to be pissed. We're going to get in an argument. It's not worth it.
Right.
I'd rather say something now because it's not personal about this person so much as you're not in a space to accommodate to her person the way she is. I have pushy siblings. Okay. I have a pushy sibling for sure. I love her. I love her so much. She really wants to help, and I'm probably that way too, to be honest with you. Now I think about it. So, and there was a time I was living with her when I was going through this horrible mental illness because I couldn't go through college anymore, and they came in kind of, and she was very pushy around what I should do. You should do this. You should do that. You should do this. Now, she had no idea that that was actually trauma. Right? This was before I was aware. This was like before, like, right. Imagine this was you 3 months ago.
Yeah.
It's traumatic.
Right.
It's like someone's choking you. She didn't realize she was choking me every time she was telling me what to do. She had no clue.
Mm-hmm.
So you're sensitive to it now. You're now on the other side of it, highly sensitive to that.
Yeah, I would say that, like, the feeling of the walls closing in, I actually really sense that on a physical level more than I did before. So almost immediately I'll feel somebody and I'll feel that closing in. I'm like, oh, I don't like this feeling.
Yeah, and it's not, I don't like this. It's not coming from them so much. And that's how, right. I just, not saying that they're not pushy. I'm not saying that they're not coming across like telling you what to do. Your response to it, however, is highly sensitive at this point. I so feel what you're talking about. You and I have a lot of similarities, being that we were raised in a very controlled environment. Yeah. Right? Very brainwashed environment. Very, not maliciously. People, and it's like PTSD. It's like a trigger.
Right. Yeah, I do feel that. Yeah.
So what happened for me is I had to be willing to say, no. I appreciate your suggestion. I'm not going to do that. That doesn't work for me. No, I can't do that. That doesn't work for me. And the more that I was willing to do that, and I recall she was like, okay, I just care about you. I just really want the best for you. And I was like, I understand. I love you too. And I appreciate it. That energy and effort to do that is truly just someone who is like in their own survival mode going, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. This is the way to do it.
Right, yeah.
And you've got to be able to get the essence of what they're doing. Get the essence of it so that you can see that they wouldn't be so pushy if they didn't care about you or they didn't want to be with you or they didn't love you. Yeah. They wouldn't. And if they get pissed off, right, if you say, I appreciate it. No, I'm not. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. That's not good for me. Like if you repeatedly say that and they don't care, it's about them. And then you can understand the relationship from there. Okay. Like if they can't, if you're giving them feedback, and this takes practice. So that's what you're learning right now. Yeah. You're figuring it out. This is exciting. To me, I'm excited. Yeah, we're figuring this out.
I'm glad that I'm kind of getting to this place for sure. So, and I can see how so many of my relationships are going to need to go through like renegotiation phase.
Yeah, well, you just start having boundaries. But again, what I'm teaching you right now, or what we're talking about right now, is the last thing you want to do is project that wall closing in as if they're the ones who are doing it. They're not. Okay. That's your sensitivity is what that is. Okay. So the first thing you got to do is get the context for what they're doing. Just like I said, the essence. First of all, she has no freaking clue. Yeah. She's really probably in her mind thinking this is a win-win situation. She's going to come take care of her girlfriend, have a good time, and you guys are going to have a blast, and you're going to do all this stuff. The essence is really loving. Yeah. She's just clueless as to your state of mind and if it's appropriate. Only you know that. So can you see where, okay, I can accept whatever love language this is, even if it's a win-win for her to be on vacation and be at the beach, right?
Yeah.
I just have to make sure she knows my boundaries. And in a way, that's what's happening right now. I think when you come back to talk, you might want to, talk about this.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you said that really stood out was I definitely felt like 8:59 a.m. I could tell things. All the walls came in, and I was like, oh, sort of thing. And then I got upset, and, called her pushy and, whatever. But,
yeah, well, the resentment, that feeling, that feeling came in.
That wall's coming in as me and what I'm going through.
Yeah, just I've been super controlled. What we're actually working on is me getting independence and having a voice. You don't have to, this isn't necessarily her business, but yeah, giving her that, you are highly sensitive. And the truth of the matter is that this isn't the best timing for you.
Right.
But being willing to say, I love you, I really care about you. Do you love her and care about her?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I value our friendship. I value your friendships. I love that you're here and that you wanted to be here. I am just overwhelmed. I'm working on these personal things about having boundaries. I'm having to do it with my spouse, as a role as a mother, with my, there's layers and layers of it. And that response, is absolutely you kind of think of the energy that goes into it, right? The energy that went into your response to her. There's a lot behind that. That had not as much. I mean, she was definitely, to call it pushy, being pushy, not thinking about, nowhere close to aware, and you can give it grace because you've never really probably had boundaries.
No.
So in her mind, she's just being herself, and you're being yourself, and she's kind of learned the edges of the friendship with you not having edges.
Right. So
right now you're learning your edges and you're sensitive. And you really should have told her ahead of time, maybe just said, here's what I need to do. You can find something. Here's what I'll do. Like, this is where you're going to need practice, is actually, I'm going to do this. Why don't you go do that? This is really important to me. I've spent a lot of money on this. I need this session. While I'm doing this, why don't I drop you off here and I can talk here and then it'll work out. I'll adjust to it.
Right. Yeah.
And what was she? So did you give her that? And she was like, no, let's do this. Or she just.
Yeah, well, we had made arrangements and then she basically, whatever she was going to find for herself, she didn't feel like worked out. And so she kind of reneged on the thing. I'm like, are you serious? Because we planned it, but I could have just, we could have taken separate cars. We could have done something different if I would have. I could have definitely structured that time better and I think I was probably not as cognitively aware of how important these conversations are. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to flow this into my morning. It's okay, because I can do both. I'm multitasking or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the plan goes, but this was really important to me. So then.
Yeah. Well, and you want it to be private. Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to have that private time.
Yes. Okay.
I was just asking for that 1 hour, and then she went back on that, and then I got stressed out.
Totally.
Yeah.
And now do you see how this whole thing you're doing great. You're doing good. You're doing as best you can with what you're learning right now. Right? This is an important little experiment because do you want to maintain this friendship? Is this a friendship that you really okay. So this is inevitable. This was an inevitable thing to happen between you and her.
Right. It was inevitable.
And can you see?
Renegotiate because
totally.
I'm in a different place, but she also is really into the whole victim mentality thing, to her, and then it feels uncomfortable now. So I'm like, the victim role.
Yes. Well, so you don't need to take responsibility. Just say, I just got to give you, these are my true feelings. If she's going to be a victim, this relationship may not end up being a good friendship. It's only a good friendship. Again, it's kind of like under the previous conditions, right? It was only if you accommodated to her that you could be friends. So she liked the accommodation. She's friends with the accommodation, not necessarily you. So this is kind of part of the process in terms of your relationships, what's going to last. And as you become real, how many friendships you have and relationship you have are real, where they care about you, not what they get from the relationship so much.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah, and I can see that a lot of my relationships were what I gave. Like, whether it was
the accommodation.
Babysit your kids because I happen to be home, or, whatever. Like, it's always something. I always seem to give.
Yeah, and you've got to be willing to stop giving. And
I have to stop giving.
Yeah, I mean, and there's obviously gray. It doesn't have to be black and white, right? Something where it's, it's not. Well, you've never given people boundaries. So they just assume. I'm telling you, can I give you the voice from people on the outside? They're assuming that then this is no big deal to you. They're assuming you don't have that feeling of pressure, walls closing in.
Right.
They don't, because they're going off of your response. And oftentimes when you meet someone that's like, sure, okay, people start to be, I wonder if she can help out. I'll ask her. And you're like, no, of course. And then all of a sudden.
Everyone to turn off my back. So they just expect, of course, next time they come.
Well, they may not expect it so much, but although there might be people who are really attracted to you because you rescue them. So it might be that, that codependent triangle between rescuer, persecutor, right? Yeah. And victim. Do you know what I'm talking about? The drama triangle. Do you know what that is?
Yeah. Yeah, I have looked into that.
Yeah, the persecutor, the victim. So in your case, someone may be like, I'm just having a terrible day. I don't know what to do. And you're like, I'll take your kids. Really? You're the rescuer, right? I don't know. So that's just one example of it.
I can see how.
Let me help you. And in the meantime, it's conflicting with what's right and what's balanced in your life. And obviously, there's times where that sacrifice is circumstantial.
Yeah.
Right?
And
it's a circumstance.
Yeah. I have this, persona that looks like I have everything together. So people are like, oh, she can handle it. And I, on the other hand, feel
losing
like I
your
need
shit.
Assistance. So I then become like a motherly figure. Like, I look like I just can handle. I'm like, anyway.
Well, and you got to look at what you got out of that, too. What did you get out of it?
I can see that
people like me. I've been given this. I look like I have my shit together. People, you get that feedback. And that's the upside of being a rescuer is people think she is amazing. You like the praise. You like the, whatever that you got out of it, right? And so when you retreat from that role as a rescuer, you're essentially surrendering what you got out of it. The rescuer typically gets a concept of pride, a sense of I know, so there is that controllingness. And so when you retreat, you're losing your control, you're losing your pride, and you're losing your status. Obviously, I think you're over that now, right? Are you at the point where you're like, I don't give a shit. Yeah.
Like, no problem.
And so now, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but now the goal here is you need to see the big picture. When someone comes to you, they have no clue what's going on in your life. They have no clue what personal processes you've been through. No one. Maybe your husband does, but no one else, really.
Yeah.
They might think it's that your relationship with your husband is messed up. They may not be connecting the fact that, no, all of your relationships have been messed up. to include theirs. Make sense?
Right, yeah.
They think you're working on your marital relationship.
Right.
Again, not thinking that, no, it's all relationships that you've been doing this with.
Yeah, and that's definitely why it takes that time and space and going slow, because, like, all of these things that need to change, like, just...
It's overwhelming.
Relationships, yeah.
Yeah, you're in a sensitive space right now, and she's kind of swooped in with that old relationship, and it's triggering you. And it's not because she's bad. She's just going as she's always gone, right? Can you see that?
Yeah, and I can see how...
You've accommodated to it in the past.
Yeah.
So now you're in a space where the accommodations are to some degree, and again, it's not black and white. The walls are closing in. The walls are closing in. And I could absolutely see why this time and the fact that, whatever reason, we can sit here and say, well, she should know. I would never do that to someone. Of course you would never do that to someone. You have a problem with never doing that to someone.
Right, exactly.
Don't project that onto her. It's like she should be in a super accommodator to the point of mental illness.
Yeah.
That's what you were doing. That's what I was like, hold up, just shut up, listen to me.
Like, just give me a little bit of what I feel like I give, but no.
Need recovery from. Yeah.
The whole thing. Yeah.
Can someone do to me what I'm trying to recover from?
Give me some regard. I don't know.
You have to do it for yourself. So that's another thing I want to do. You do, and the way you do it for yourself is you have to be the voice. You have to be that voice for what you're feeling on the inside. I want you to think about this for a second. Does your mom know what those needs are inside you?
No.
So she can't voice those. Did your dad?
Right, no.
How about your husband?
No.
Your dog?
No.
Your children?
No.
Your friends?
No.
God?
No.
No. You're the only one experiencing what that it's cramping your space. It's not them that's cramping your space. It's actually your space that feels cramped. If you have to be the one to say, no. No. That is not going to work for me right now. Let's plan this out. Can we do this in a month? Can we plan this at a different time? You know what I'm saying? And obviously it sounds like what you said, so far it's been really, you've been able to adjust and adapt, and hasn't been that big of a deal except for this morning.
Yeah, there was like the morning, and then, because I was, I feel like I'm happy to, obviously, I know she's going through a hard time, so I'm...
She's going through a hard time?
She is going through a hard time, too. She's separated from her husband, and...
Are you rescuing her right now?
I would be if I was encroaching on my own boundaries.
Yeah.
So
you just need to recognize, okay, when I feel this way, your response was to make her your persecutor.
Right.
How is she not doing this right? She doesn't even know, like I would do this for her. That's the persecutor. You're the victim. She's the persecutor. How is that going to work out?
No, it felt terrible. I haven't felt good for a couple days. Just trying to figure out, like, what happened, or what part am I playing in it? How does that go?
Well, the part I think where you need to open this up is. Can you see it? Can you see where I'm?
She was calling on me to be kind of like a rescuer, and then because I usually played that role.
Accommodated.
Did it, but as I'm changing, and then I didn't have enough awareness to not feel persecuted or whatever.
To not have boundaries, which then creates. You see that which then creates like the walls are starting to close in because you're not holding the wall where it needs to stay. Does that make sense?
Oh, no. How does that go? So, right. So I shouldn't have tried, right, because I was actually basically rescuing before, and so that was the wall.
Well, so is she...
needed to put up.
Yeah, it's not that you don't have empathy and you don't care and you don't love this person, but there's a point at which you need to say, that's fine. Here's my wall. Here are my boundaries in terms of if this starts to encroach, now I'm having problems. And so if she encroached and you did not say anything, then this response is building up. And you're for the first time actually saying, no, can't do this, right?
Right. Yeah, that was the first time she's probably
ever. Yeah.
Do that ever.
Right.
She was shocked. She was like, I have never seen this side of you.
I've never. Well, this side of me has been in a tiny little space in it, and I think that you should give her some context.
Yeah.
I don't think just give it context.
Yeah. Me too.
And you should, and as you're learning, I'm going to go back to what I said because I do think this needs to be absorbed.
Yeah.
You're struggling discerning your boundaries right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point. You're developing, so you can see that's not clear. It's not as clear, especially when you've kind of been blindsided. Right? She hasn't done anything different.
No.
That's why I asked that question earlier. Is this out of character for her? No, it's not. Okay. The difference now is that you're in this space where you've always never had boundaries because you got something out of it. You were the rescuer. I'm going to do something positive. I'm going to help this person. And the whole time your walls are, your whole life is now becoming tense. Now you're trying to recover and you're learning where those lines need to be drawn for you because it's an inner sense. It's not a concept that you can draw lines around. You know what I mean? It's not like there's a rule book and she's not participating in the rule book. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
She's not following it. No, this has to go with there's an inner sense of boundaries of what I'm willing to do under the circumstance of my life and what I'm not. Under a different circumstance, it would be easy for you to take her in, but not in this circumstance, right? So it's not just black and white. It's circumstantial. It's based on your personal condition. So one thing to think about is like when it's like if I'm financially struggling and I have a friend that's like, I really want to go on this vacation for my 50th birthday and I want you to be there because you're my best friend. You've got to do it, but yet I'm financially in struggle. What am I going to do? If I accommodate to her needs and wanting, I'm going to sacrifice my financial, right? And so how do you accommodate to that, right? So if I was like in a financial situation where I had the cash flow, I would be willfully doing that. If I don't, I have to say no, right? I have to be forthright. This is too much. I can't afford it. It would be taking away from this or that. That's just like one example, right?
Yeah.
If I was moving, right? And right in the middle of that move, I have a family member who's like, hey, I'm going to be driving through. Can I stay at your house? What am I going to say? So now I got to stop everything I'm going to do to make them a bed, get them a room, and do what they need. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like that's circumstantially not appropriate. I have to say, I'm so sorry. I am in no way capable of housing you. If you want to come and stay, but I don't have time. I'm not going to have time to take you to lunch or fix dinner. Or, in fact, this is horrible timing. No.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, but if I wasn't in that situation, I would be like, of course, you can stay in this room. I got a blow-up mattress because I don't have a guest bedroom yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there is a learning yourself under a variety of dynamic environments to know when you need more boundaries and when those boundaries can be crossed and when they don't need to be crossed, and kind of how it works right now. So if you look at your situation, look at this situation, not just your state of mind. I mean, but that's there too. You look at what's going on here for you and where you're at.
Right.
And right now you're trying to get out of this codependent type of environment. And maybe your relationship with this friend in the past has been co-victim. Because it sounds like she has that victim mentality.
She does.
And so she might feel that, and oftentimes when relationships develop as co-victims, it's commiserating together, right? And that you're rescuing as a victim with her. We're both victims, and we're gonna be victims together.
Right.
And she gets something out of it. It's like, what would you get out of that?
Yeah. Well, and
you know what it is? It's I'm right, they're wrong. Validate that I'm right and they're wrong. Yes, you are right, they're wrong, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I've been that for her. I can see that I've been that when nobody else was sort of doing that for her, I was. So.
Yeah, you were commiserating and co-victimizing yourself and whatnot. And now she might have been thinking that's what I need and that's what she needs, and you're trying to recover from that. But it's, again, the essence of what she's doing. Just go into the essence of it.
Right, because I wonder, even if our relationship was to go forward, we would almost have to now be also on the same page of maybe claiming some more responsibility.
No, that's not. No, what you're basically saying is because you can give her grace. She doesn't have to change for you to like her. Do you have any friends of mine are totally in codependent drama triangles? Should I say I'm not going to relate to them unless they're functional people?
Yeah.
No,
How do you handle this when you have conversations with people and they say things and you're like,
I say, well, that sucks. You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Oh, that's hard. I bet you. So I have compassion for what they're saying, because based on their viewpoint, it is sucky. It's always a sucky viewpoint, right? So they feel sucky, and I can have compassion for that viewpoint because they're miserable. Oh, and I have compassion for that, and then I follow up with, you'll figure it out. You know what? I usually have I don't co-commiserate, right? You'll figure it out. You guys, you know what? This is life. You'll figure it out. That's my favorite thing to say. You'll figure it out. You'll hear me say that in my YouTube videos. Okay, you'll figure it out. Because maybe there's something you need to learn and they need to figure this out, and you'll figure it out.
It's my own responsibility if I feel like I need to somehow get involved in the story, or I can just be like,
that sucks.
I get that, and I'm not interested, let's say, and
you can have
into the nuances.
You got it, and you don't need to, and you can just listen to them and let them vent about their way of thinking about things, which needs venting because the way they think about things is pressurized, and see that and have compassion for that. Right, and so you just give it grace. And there are some friends who are really, really in a dark place, and I just do keep a distance. It's like I'm friendly, I'm loving, I have compassion, but I don't participate with those things. Like if they want to, I just don't relate to them that way. I'm positive, I'm caring, even with my own, my own siblings. Does that make sense? So the response is, for us to be friends, she's going to have to figure this out too. Like she's going to have to up her game a little bit.
That's what I wasn't sure. I was like, how are we going to keep our relationship would have to somewhat change.
Of course it's going to change because your way of being is altering. And so it is going to somewhat change. And that's okay. It just means that you have boundaries. Right. And if she's going to make an adjustment on her end, and you can't change her way of being. I guess what you're saying is for us to maintain the same connectivity, she's going to work. Because you're not going to. Yeah, well, and that's.
I'm not going to go into victim mode like I usually do, and now I'm saying, no, I prefer not to feel like a victim, let's say. Then it puts us off balance because that was where we were together, let's say.
Yeah.
So then.
Sometimes I'll respond with, have you ever thought of it differently? Have you ever thought to look at it differently? I don't know. Maybe that'll help you. Have you thought to get counseling? I've also said that many times.
Yeah.
Have you thought to get some help? This might be really good to get some feedback. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So, I don't know. That sounds complicated. You might want to get some feedback from somebody. Maybe get a... You see how that works? You still care about this person. You still are connecting to what they're experiencing. It's not, oh, I know. Oh, my God, yes. Oh, I heard about... Now you're just... And you're suffering. What do you get out of that?
Nothing.
Misery,
Right,
So part of this process is you just having your inner boundaries. And I bet you anything, it's not going to change a whole lot. It might if she's full of drama and she's full of judgment and she really is using you like she's a leech on your soul type of people, because the people in that state of mind, they do exist. They do. She won't want to be your friend. And she'll naturally retreat. You won't have to kick her out. She'll naturally retreat from the relationship because you're just not feeding what she wants. So again, that's like saying, what is she really a friend with? She's a friend with the conditions, or is she a friend with you? So if it's the condition she's friends with, she'll naturally not like your friendship anymore. And and you won't have to be like, we're not friends. I don't like it. You won't have to do that.
Right.
Because you're going to be kind. You'll be gracious around it. Like gracious around what she thought this was going to be about. She had a feeling about this trip that she thought was going to be positive and beneficial for both of you. She really did.
Right, yeah.
So get that essence. That's lovingness. That's friendship that she has. And you just got to be able to say, I'm really working on these issues. I'm really sensitive.
Yeah.
I don't know. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's funny how that happened. I was like, well, apparently this was supposed to happen before my next therapy session.
Oh my God. Did you hear what I just said to you?